Humanity means history. History means humanity. 2019 and 2020 are pandemic times. A difficult time to define the new pandemic or a big homework for health organizations. For the Goodness's mastermind, members, supporters and all 7.7 billion individuals, more than history or the year of history. Humans have made history for the first time in our modern time. A history without recognition from most of the international organizations, particularly in the mentioned pandemic year. According to Sirachizem, after April 6, 2019, a new era for all humankind. Before 2019, all human activities were in humanity's old era. April 6 has changed the world forever. We are spiritually leading the world through Sirachizem. After April 6, 2019, all humankind is spiritually reborn. God's presence manifested itself in San Diego and Wuhan. All 7.7 billion individuals have the same religion called Sirachizem. We are the only religion can have evidence for God or can say about God in our modern time. Any full stop, comma, and articles in our 2019 post on Facebook and Patreon speak about God. We have put forward a very important proposal based on a population of 7.7 billion individuals, with the most common goal of all humanity: no pandemic for the future generation. Initially, we began as alternative or real-time protection for a 40-year pandemic and planned to change the world health system, but finally ended the real-time protection for the new pandemic. We were only 8 months away from the eruption of the new pandemic, COVID-19 666. Everything we've been doing in 2019 for the past 8 months before the outbreak of COVID-19 666 was completely unrevealed, secret. The overall situation and activity in 2019 leads us to believe that we have a spiritual responsibility for the world and the establishment of Sirachizem as a union of all religions. According to Sirachizem, there cannot be humanity without religion. Leaving people without religion means letting people to do sin and crimes again and again for the next 40 years. According to one of the Goodness's anti-pandemic rules and regulations in 2019, seeing people do sin and crime by itself is sin and crime. Currently, the Goodness is collecting evidence for a 2022 Nobel Prize competition in peace, especially for secretively creating awareness of the new pandemic, uniting all 7.7 billion individuals under one and only one goal of all humanity. And also, we have been creating a practical situation so that health organizations can control the new pandemic by prematurely understanding the virus, vaccines and the ultimate victory. One of the greatest The Goodness's secretive accomplishments in 2019 is uniting technological giants. The Goodness's anti-pandemic initiative nominated tech giants as a frontliner to fight the 40-year pandemic starting only 2 months and 15 days before the eruption of the new pandemic, COVID-19 666, which is August 15, 2019. That is another secret, but still the evidence on Facebook and Patreon page. According to Negatu Siraj, mastermind of The Goodness, before August 15, 2019, 2 months before the first case of the new pandemic, COVID-19 666, we heard something from Tesla, US-based private company. The Goodness AI and Robotics Health Club and AI research team identified it as the greatest achievement of humanity for the future of self-driving AI cars. Thanks to the use of the cloud, self-driving cars will communicate with each other to prevent accidents, update maps and new traffic information. Humanity developed cloud computing in the automotive Internet of Things industry, creating parts of autonomous vehicle technology in a self-driving AI system. According to Elon Musk, Tesla, self-driving cars communicate with each other in the Tesla AI cloud system. That means a car makes a mistake or sees a new traffic update, and if it recognizes it is a mistake and there is a new update, it informs all Tesla cars immediately not to repeat that kind of mistake and to understand the new update. If that is realistic, why not create a convenient environment for all self-driving cars on the cloud to learn about each other? Tesla, Apple cars and Google cars also must learn each other in the common cloud system. What if we created a technology that unites Microsoft, Azure Cloud together with Amazon, AWS, and Alibaba, then all cars across the world to learn about each other, specifically to prevent accidents and for the safe and intentional development of AI? However, according to the Goodness International Observatory and Pandemic Tracker 2019, since Sirachizem's old era, we have observed some media creating inconvenience between the technology giants not working together. The media must work to integrate technological giants, specifically work with AI. But what we're seeing is that in some interviews, press CEOs speak negatively of other CEOs. CEOs can have different technological ideas. Dividing CEOs is not a good idea, especially for the development of AI and other technologies. If there is a problem, direct talk is crucial, but indirect talk is a sign of trying to escape a private problem. The Goodness enlisted all the media that created problems with tech giants to announce them one by one with evidence. Another example, even in our case, we had a hard time announcing our program on most social media since 2019. We had been required to announce our program manually since before the new COVID-19 pandemic. Some individuals advise CEOs, physicists, etc. to speak negatively about us and God. But nobody can speak negatively about us and God. Or before they speak about us, they have to tell us what they were doing in 2019. Where were they in 2019 when we initiated, motivated, and encouraged the world as part of our anti-pandemic initiative? Where were they in 2019 when we brought all universities, colleges, and schools together under our anti-pandemic AI clubs together? Where were they when we planned to build a social media source believed to change the world healthcare system by another 100%? Where were they when we planned to build a new world healthcare system since 2019? Show us your timeline, like the Goodness, WHO, CDC, etc., before they talk about us and especially God. No more physicists speaking about God except us. We are the only initiative can speak about God with evidence. In 2019, most organizations were in sleeping mode while we changed the world forever. Some of them laughed at us. They even called us terrorists because of our strong anti-pandemic slogan and theme. Unbelievable discouragement was their regular job, but we changed the world. We are the only initiative has responsibility or can speak proudly about the world of artificial intelligence, physics, and 40 and new pandemic. All are related with us since 2019. Currently, the Goodness Initiative, USA, leads the world in AI unless the UN accept our proposal so that the Goodness Help Interpol officially leads the world in AI. Our reason is we are the only initiative equally important for all countries, technological giants, AI start-up companies, AI groups, and AI individuals, etc. They have also highly limited our freedom of speech. We didn't get chances to take part in WHO and UN briefings on YouTube, most of the time during the new pandemic in 2020 and 2021. Threatening and discrimination, which have happened since 2019, continue now at the hatchet point, March 10, 2022. Because we are anti-pandemic activists, specially established because of the 40-year pandemic experience, happened to our family, relatives, and friends. By any means, they have been trying to stop us from using the internet. They want to use the internet for private only, threatening, disorientation, misinformation, discouragement and for spread a 40-year pandemic. Our bank charged us $650 for overdraft protection in 2021 through restricting privilege. Our phone company charged us more than twice with no service change. When we called the police, they told us this is not the right place and told us to call the court. Imagine if this happened in the USA, what we expect from other countries. If they see someone take part in our proposal, they take immediate action. Advice and threatening not to be a witness for the Goodness. They created 1,000 fake accounts on different social media just to distract our program. Conspiracy behind servers, news agencies, and local authorities is their regular job. In 2020, the Goodness regularly accused these organizations and individuals of endangering our planet for the new pandemic. They will take responsibility for any economic chaos each country encountered, specifically for hiding our proposal. In this situation, we passed between 2019 and 2022. We are proud of uniting all technological giants under our anti-pandemic initiative since 2019, and we named it the Goodness Tech Giants, TTG, in 2021. TTG is an anti-pandemic, the union of technological giants, AI starts-up, AI groups on Facebook, or any other media across the world specifically designed for the equity of AI and intentional development of artificial intelligence. Technological giants were one of the frontliners to fight 40 years and a new pandemic, particularly for the equitable distribution of vaccines. Especially, TheGOODNESS T-shirt design for the equitable distribution of vaccines was absolutely amazing. Our musical competition awakens the entire world, from San Diego to Western Japan. Our video "The Letter Sent for Siraj Biden" united not only Democrats and Republicans but the entire world. When we sent messages to 100 billionaires, 97% of them responded to the equity of the vaccine. That made the US the leader to fight against the new pandemic, COVID-19 666. Now, time to investigate any full stop, commas, and articles of our 2019 to 2022 activity. Especially our March 10, 2022, threatening process that completely distracted our third-year celebration in all 197 member countries and stopped 7.7 billion physicists' tutorials that were scheduled to begin on the 1st of January 03 Sirachizem calendar, or April 6, 2022. But in our understanding, the main reason for the March 10 threat at hatchet or knife point is to distract us from winning the Nobel Prize. According to the people of San Diego, they call it a shameful act. They would never have expected such a kind of activity in the US. According to some of them, TheGOODNESS did a good job. They have good idea and shape our future and gave us a lot of alternative idea and information. They showed us their evidence. They build the new world for our kids and grandkids. So what is the purpose of the threatening? Threaten is the final product of a conspiracy or losing confidence. TheGOODNESS' anti-pandemic activity, idea, and their positiveness by itself is another Nobel Prize. In this opportunity, we are asking the California police to investigate the March 10, 2022, accidents, and our anti-pandemic activity from the beginning, since 2019 based on the following TheGOODNESS criteria.
Part 2 Investigation Inquiry 1. Most people who have visited TheGOODNESS' anti-pandemic activity pages on Facebook and patrons believe that the mastermind of TheGOODNESS, Negatu Siraj, will be the winner of the Nobel Prize for 2022. Particularly, if the police independently approved the accident on March 10, 2022, is convincing. A. According to TheGOODNESS, we have 3 witnesses. 2 of them are directly involved in the threatening process, with no connection to the anti-pandemic proposal. We got their full names written by their own hand, and were approved. Their mentally active testimony, innocent, ingenue, but purposely deployed for threatening. They know themselves and about the world, but are not aware of our anti-pandemic initiative. One security officer who handled the building during the accident was from a city-wide security service. B. During the accident, TheGOODNESS could control the hatchet in our hand. While the 2 guys took the hatchet by force, the hatchet cover is still in our hand, which is collected from the floor after the accident. In this opportunity, TheGOODNESS wants the police to use fingerprints for identification in case we don't find a clue about the threatening activity. C. We have interrogation videos for those who are directly involved in the accident. The 2 guys didn't want to tell us the truth because someone highly motivated them not to give us information about the threatening activity. One of them got a California ID because of our pressure. The other one is still helping him with the local authority. D. In 2 other videos, a minor hand cut happened during the accident. E. TheGOODNESS mastermind did 2 teeth operations after the first accident happened on March 10, 2022. The first operation was a day after the accident and was successful, but the second operation a week after the first operation was unsuccessful. The doctor on duty tried everything that we had expected from her. She tried to do it carefully, but suddenly and unexpectedly, a lot of blood came out of my mouth, probably from my mental. The situation disturbed both the doctor and the assistant. We observed a lot of blood out of my mouth. I saw a punch of blood on cotton on the table, but during the operation there was no pain. Finally, my doctor advised me to talk to my medical doctor if, in case, the wound continues to be persistent. Unfortunately, I didn't see a doctor, but even after 3 days, I still had bad feelings, a sore mentality. Since then, my health is completely deteriorating day by day. I never went to the library for 3 weeks. San Diego Central Library was like our office, but I have never been there since March 10, 2022. Most of the time, I spend my free time just sleeping. Before the accident, I could spend 4 hours on my laptop, but now not more than an hour. I often get headaches. I observe just like a blurred image or my vision completely changed. When I sleep, I hear a strange voice. This is clear evidence to stop our 7.7 billion physicists tutorial, in particular, to kick us out of the competition from Nobel and also distract our 3rd year celebration. Our plan to prepare a tutorial in physics and artificial intelligence since our establishment aimed to attract public attention, for recognition, and to motivate the entire world toward our goal of for all humanity, no pandemic for the future generation. However, some individuals didn't like it. They were born together with us to stop our anti-pandemic movement since 2019. Finally, they chose the hatchet to distract our attention. They do not want our recognition in the international community. They have done a lot of things. They are successful in doing that. Especially when they hear we are computing for the Nobel Prize, they become mad. But our idea of computing for the Nobel Prize came from Sirachizem's negative comment. According to MS-13, TheGOODNESS started anti-pandemic activity because of wishing a scholarship in AI, for the Nobel Prize, for a PhD, to get the highest paid job in AI, to begin startup company, etc. But our job was blessed, unprecedented and more than anything, from suggested. They have crowned us with present-day technology, artificial intelligence and religion. We are leading the world spiritually and in AI. Sriracha MS-13 has launched a large campaign since our foundation. They are preventing us from competing for Nobel Prizes. In particular, the plot with local authorities, irresponsible CEOs, physicists, press agencies, even United Nations workers, etc. But whatever they say, we deserve it, especially to help us in recognition and, in particular, to execute our goal effectively. We had planned and promised to release at least 1 video tutorial per week. Unfortunately, because of them, we couldn't run the 7.7 billion physicists tutorial as we promised for the entire world. Now it is time for an investigation. On this occasion, we will ask a family health center to prepare and release our medical records for the California police, particularly regarding TheGOODNESS Mastermind 2 operations after March 10. Investigation Inquiry 2. TheGOODNESS Initiative, USA, has evidence to show for police that one of the main reasons for the spread of a 40-year pandemic all over the world is immigration. Our establishment, because of a 40-year pandemic experience, happened in San Diego, California, among the immigrant community. In most of the immigrant community, for the last 40 years, it has been common to assign a 40-year pandemic negative person to pandemic positive family, relatives, and friends purposely. Especially if you are from a minority group, new for the country or, for some reason, don't like you. Plus, most of us using 40-year pandemic positive persons as a biological weapon to attack each other. For this purpose, killing religion organizations or pretend religious people and ignoring ethical books given by God like the Book of Sirach. It is a very dangerous culture and must be thrown away. TheGOODNESS Initiative, USA, has evidenced 3 different 40-year pandemic positive individuals for a 40-year pandemic negative person. The 3 others for TheGOODNESS Mastermind. We have their full name, phone number, show their home, or we will explain if asked. Because of our 40-year pandemic experience as an initial point, we established an anti-pandemic initiative as a real or alternative to protect innocent immigrants. Finally, because of public comment, grow up to the people of the USA, for the entire world as anti-pandemic activist, then anti-pandemic and health activist. Initially, our 2019 activity was to create awareness for the 40-year pandemic for this purpose, using our interesting fields, AI and physics, as motivational tools. Then we brought to unite all educational institutions together for equity and intentional development of AI, recognizing all religious organizations under our clubs, upgrading all ministries of health and uniting all health organizations in all 197 countries, etc. In between, another pandemic has invaded the world, COVID-19 666. All 7.7 billion individuals fallen under lockdown for the first time in human history in just a matter of days. Another but new pandemic blocked our anti-pandemic activity. All our 2019 activity and creativity became the real-time protection for the new pandemic. We are excited. News agencies, physicists, computer scientists, including Interpol, who were against us now admire us. We got a lot of comments and advice from religious organizations to grow as a union of religions, and Sirachizem flourished. Unexpectedly, with maximum discouragement, intimidation, discrimination, ignorance, incomprehension, denigration, we became medicine for the entire world. Imagine the new pandemic was being uncontrollable. How many billions more dollars would we spend? Probably trillions. How many more millions might have died? Probably billions. Let's think differently. If our proposal got acceptance and implemented on time since April 6, 2019, that is 8 months before the first case from COVID-19 666. How many more people and money we saved? We need answers from 7.7 billion individuals. If our proposal didn't exist, the COVID situation was worse. In our understanding of our activities and efforts, all countries, news agencies, tech giants, religions, and health organizations were ready for the new pandemic. The best evidence for our saying is that our publications from December 1 to December 31, 2019, on both Facebook and Patreon are enough. Those are more than a Nobel Prize, highest paid job, beginning a start-up company, receiving honorable PhD, scholarship, being a saint, etc. Saving lives is more than a billionaire or starting a big company. We saved the planet, Earth forever. We need to be investigated by California police for any full stop, commas, and an article. Especially in our activity 2019, will then be forwarded to the Nobel Prize Office and all the responsible offices in our matter. The Goodness Initiative, USA, since April 6, 2019, San Diego, California, Holy Land of all humanity.